I'm Medea Sawa, and welcome to another episode of Skin in Focus, brought to you by Locobase. I'm thrilled to be your host for this series. Each episode will focus on different aspects of skincare, featuring insights and personal stories from experts. Today, we're diving into a crucial topic: ingredients and efficacy in skincare products. If you're listening and want to know more about how to choose the best products for your skin, you're in the right place. And our guest today is Dr. Nina Pettengraff. She is an expert in the field of cosmetic, biocidal, and chemical products with over 10 years of experience. Nina has worked with global businesses and consulted companies, offering her unique knowledge within R&D, medical affairs, and regulatory affairs. Currently, she runs her own consultancy firm, Reglines Partners, providing a regulatory expertise for EU and UK markets. Nina, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this, and I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you with us today. So can you tell us a bit more about yourself and your passion for skincare?
Yeah. So, as a chemist, I have worked in various different industries, and I enjoy them all, I have to say. But when I started to work in the cosmetic industry, it resonated with me in a different way, because these are products that, I use every day myself, but also you use it from the moment, you wake up. If it's a toothpaste, or in the evening, you're using a moisturizer or shampoo, etc. So it resonated really with me in a different way. And I could, feel and touch and use the products that I work with. And also being part of a team where you develop new products that have an impact on people's life, whether that would be a product that is for, itch relief or dry skin. It really gives me an inner satisfaction, to come out with these products and give my input from a chemist point of view.
Yeah. Thank you. So how important is the use of skincare products in dry, sensitive, and problematic skin? And how do they help?
So I would say the skin types that you mentioned, dry, sensitive, or if you have like some kind of history of inflammation or redness, if you have atopic prone skin or eczema or even psoriasis, I think it's very important to use skincare. And I would like to underline that it's very important to use the right skincare for that skin type. In the cosmetic industry, you could both hear but also see on the labeling that we often talk about the skin barrier. And the skin barrier is basically the outermost layer of your skin, also known as stratum corneum. It's the skin barrier is the skin you can see when you look at your skin. And this is the protective layer of your skin. And the role of the skin barrier is to, keep the moisture in your skin so you don't dehydrate. And also to keep, external irritants from outside your body so they don't enter. So if you zoom into, the skin barrier, you will see that it's made up of skin cells. And those skin cells are held together with a lipid layer that is protecting these skin cells. And if you look at someone with dry skin, those people are actually lacking, or that skin type is, missing maybe the production of these oils that you need to protect, the skin cells. In skincare, we also talk about something when we want to look at, the skin barrier property. We look at the characteristic called transepidermal water loss. And that's something you can also measure. It's a measurement of how well your skin barrier is working. So you want to have a low transepidermal water loss. You don't want to lose water from your skin barrier. So I would say it's very important to use good skincare that protects your skin barrier and keep it, moisturized, basically.
Yeah. So essentially what we're saying is, when you have a certain type of skin, for example, if you have dry skin or sensitive skin, you're essentially replenishing what's missing and to sort of add those back in and to maintain that healthy skin barrier. So for example, if somebody has dry skin, there'll be certain things that are missing that they'll be adding in by the use of these moisturizers. That's why it's important to use the correct product based on your skin type or the skin condition you're dealing with.
Yes, exactly. So you're rebuilding the skin barrier and giving it what it needs, because you cannot produce it naturally.
Yeah, exactly. And then I guess when an individual ends up using the wrong sort of product for the type of problem they're trying to treat, they often may find that it actually makes the problem worse. So because you're feeding the skin something that it doesn't require. So in a way, this is sort of, you need to find the right product, which is sort of the food for your skin to solve the issue that you've got going on. So what are the key ingredients that can help the most? And are there any differences or watch outs when it comes to problematic skin?
Yeah. And so if I would have some kind of, compromised skin barrier and I'm looking for a product to work on my skin barrier, I would look at ingredients that are hydrating, because you need, as I mentioned earlier, you're losing water from your skin and you need to add some kind of hydration or trap in water into that skin barrier. And hydrating actives could be, for instance, traditional glycerin, we have hyaluronic acid, we have urea, ectoin, we have even propylene glycol. So there are different kinds of hydrating actives that I will look for. Another thing I was mentioning about, the lipids, the natural oils in the lipid layer that are also not, you don't have excess of them in a dry skin, or even if you have eczema-prone skin. So there I would look for skin identical lipids. And those are, for instance, ceramides, free fatty acids, cholesterol, scalane. And naturally, you can also find glycerin, as I mentioned earlier. And then I would also, these are known actually as emollients in skincare. I would also use something to lock in that moisture to give, 99% protection so you don't lose water. And that is an occlusive ingredient such as petrolatum, for instance. And then, we have all probably experienced, having dry skin at some point, and it could be very itchy. So you maybe want to have some kind of soothing ingredients that calms that itch. So there I would look for maybe panthenol containing products, or, aloe vera or allantoin.
Yeah.
So these are just to mention, some few ingredients that I look for in skincare. And also, I'm sorry, I didn't mention the watch outs. One of the biggest watch outs, I would say, is perfumes, fragrances. I mean, this, when you have a compromised skin barrier, or even when you have a normal skin, I would say, perfumes are known to be allergens. So you don't want to add any allergens or irritants into your skin. So even essential oils that are natural, and also too many products with extracts, for instance. So those are the watch outs that I would say.
So the ingredients you mentioned, they are suited if somebody is suffering from, for example, dry skin. So those are the ingredients they should be looking for. And what about people that maybe have oily skin? And then there's also this belief that if I have oily skin, I don't need to moisturize. So what are the ingredients they should be using or avoiding, for example?
So if you have an oily skin, that's also one myth, I would say, that you think you don't need to hydrate your skin. I think for an oily skin, you should add some kind of routine where you also have, oily skin thinks, I need to clean my skin. I need to clean my skin to get rid of this oil. But what you also need to do is to moisturize your skin. So I will look for the hydrating actives, as I mentioned, and really work on those. And also maybe look at more non-comedogenic products that they don't clog the pores. And this is also seen, you can see it on the labeling if, they have tested for it and so on. So looking at the label, you will find a lot of information.
So essentially, to summarize, again, we're highlighting the importance of choosing products based on your skin type and how crucial it is that you stick with what will suit your need in terms of, the problem you've got, whether that's oily skin or dry skin. That's great to know. Thank you. So I understand you work on the brand Locobase, providing your expertise on product formulations and efficacy studies. Can you tell us a bit more about Locobase, the products and the key ingredients and their function?
Yeah. And so I have worked for the past 3 years with Locobase, and it's actually a brand that I've grown up with. It is a medical skincare brand and that offers, products within treatments for eczema and psoriasis. So those are medical device products. But we also offer products with a cosmetically classified grade that are supporting these treatments. Just to give you, the bestseller, I have it here, Locobase Repair.
Yeah.
It is, most Swedes, I would say, or in Scandinavia, it's very popular to have it at your home. So Locobase Repair was actually developed by, a group of dermatologists, Scandinavian dermatologists. They wanted to find a cream that would suit during your treatments if you had eczema or if you just simply had very dry skin or damaged skin.
Yeah.
If we look at the key ingredients in Locobase, the whole range, if we start with Locobase Repair, we are working with, the skin identical lipids. As I mentioned earlier, it's very important to add the skin identical lipids into your skin barrier if it's compromised. Here we work with ceramides, so specifically ceramide NP, which is known as ceramide 3. And this is actually the most abundant ceramide you can find in your skin. And interestingly, we have also seen that this is the ceramide also that, when you're suffering from eczema or other atopic dermatitis or anything else, you are lacking ceramide NP in your skin.
Okay.
So the skin identical lipids in this product is ceramide NP, cholesterol, and free fatty acids. And I do want to mention that this product contains, and you might hear it here for the first time, 1% ceramide. And ceramide is a very expensive ingredient, but this product contains 1% ceramide NP. And we're very proud of it. It also contains glycerin, some hydrating ingredients, and some occlusive ingredients. We actually are going to launch during the autumn new product, which is, I mentioned I work in this innovation team, and we have together come out with or developed a new product called Locobase Repair Light Cream. And it's a lighter version of our original Repair, but it has the same benefits. So we are very proud of it, and let's see how it will hit the market.
Yeah, we look forward to that. Sounds good.
But I can also add, Locobase family, we do also work with, in this new product, we also have a soothing ingredient, which is allantoin. We also work with, for if you have a rough, bumpy skin or psoriasis, we're also working with some exfoliating ingredients like lactic acid, propylene glycol, which is also anti-inflammatory. We also work with ectoin, urea. And we also have Locobase Protect, which is also more like locking in the moisture, has a high level of petrolatum. And we also offer a product for, the person that are really suffering from that itchy feeling. So we have a product containing more like betaine, aloe vera, and panthenol.
Yeah, all sounds really good. And it really sounds like sort of a hug for your skin, with all those amazing ingredients you've mentioned. And really, really useful information. Thank you for sharing all that with us. And what are some of the key studies that have shown efficacy when it comes to Locobase? And can you give us an example?
So, one of my roles in the innovation team at Karo is to perform, clinical studies on all the products that we are, launching. when we were going to launch or develop this new Local Base Repair Light cream, for us, it was very important that it would perform equally well as, the original repair cream.
Yeah.
The difference being more like, that you can use this on a daily basis because it's a lighter cream. So we looked at the transepidermal water loss. We also, just to see like how much does it actually lock in moisture?
Yeah.
Is it performing equally well as the original repair? And it did. We had very nice results. We compared them in a study. And we also looked more into, how much moisture is added into the skin, but also, collaborating with the dermatologist and looking at the redness and seeing that that's being reduced.
Nina, before we wrap up, what are some of the biggest myths about skincare you'd like to debunk?
Oh, I think the biggest myth is, when companies are saying that natural ingredients is better for you than chemicals or synthetically made, which is not true. Something that is natural, it doesn't mean that because it's natural or it's healthier for you and it's safer for you. We know scientifically that the dose really sets how poison something is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
exactly.
All ingredients, if you take salt and sugar, for instance, those are not good for you either in high levels.
Yeah.
So that is one myth that I would like to, say that it's not true. Another example here is, for instance, perfumes. This is some companies can claim like, oh, but this product contains essential oils. These are, natural essences from the plants. Yeah. But those are not good for you either. In this case, both are not good for you because it can sensitize your skin. But because something is natural, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's better for your health and safer for you.
Yeah. And again, I guess, the theme has been you have to find ingredients and actives that are suitable for your skin type. And having natural ingredients or these essential oils and so on doesn't necessarily mean it makes the product more skin friendly or more, I guess, friendly for your skin type. So always look for ingredients that you mentioned earlier if you've got oily skin, dry skin, and go by that rather than looking at labels where it says it's naturally sourced or natural ingredients and so on. Great. So for anyone struggling to pick the right skincare product, obviously given the overwhelming choices that are out there, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
I think you should first get to know your skin. Do you have a dry skin? Do you have a sensitive skin, meaning that you're triggered by some kind of ingredients? Or do you have some other issues, maybe an eczema-prone skin or psoriasis even? And then I would, I know it's very common. You go to the pharmacy, you want to pick out, a new moisturizer, and you start picking out 5 of them or 3 of them. My advice is that maybe get 2 of them and try them at home and give each product 1 week. Try it for 1 week. That's when you're really going to know if it works. And don't try several products at the same time. You really don't need a 7-step routine, I would say. I mean, everything that you add into your routine should have a reason. And why are you adding that product into your routine? Is it a certain ingredient? Or is it because of some kind of claim you have found on pack? Oh, this one is working on the barrier properties. And then, just give it a week and then switch to the next product if you're not satisfied with that product. That's my piece of advice.
Yeah. And then if I can ask, what would you say have a bit of a regime in terms of if you're trying to treat a problem, not just go and seek the treatment, but also, the importance of using the correct way of cleaning your skin, cleansers and moisturizers. So in what order should it be done in, and what would you advise if you wanted to sort of give us a simple step to follow, for example?
Yeah, I would say, first clean your skin. and you don't need to use anything that has, just a mild cleanser. And whether that is a gel is usually feels nicer on the skin and it's milder. I would use a gel if I have more like a skin that is dry and sensitive in a sense. And then I would add some moisturizer. I don't think you need 3 different moisturizer. I would add 1 moisturizer. But if we're talking about the body, of course, maybe you need to have a lighter moisturizer and then let it sink in and then add some kind of protective layer, a thicker cream. But if we look at, for instance, Locobase Repair, this one you can use on patches where you're very dry.
Yeah.
So you don't want to put it on your whole body because that becomes very, creamy and oily. Just add it on some parts, some patches where you feel like you really need to, work on that skin barrier more intensively.
Yeah.
And that would be my advice. I know dermatologists also have, if you were really suffering from a condition, you should seek a dermatologist and get a, routine from them, of course.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you for that. That was really, really useful. So thank you so much, Nina, for sharing your expertise with us today. And this has been a fantastic episode. Remember, if you're concerned about your skin, just like Nina said, always consult with a healthcare professional. And for more tips and products to help you on your skincare journey, visit us at karoacademy.com. That's KARO Academy.com. And also learn more about what we do at locobase.com. Thank you for listening to Skin in Focus. Don't forget to rate and review the show. If you enjoyed it, it really helps spread the word. Stay tuned for our next and last episode where we'll continue diving into the world of skin. See you next time.